All right, good evening and welcome to this conversation. We're talking about the Coldplay concert, the tickets that went online. Now, from what we understand, a total of 13 million fans of Coldplay in India went online that Sunday to buy tickets. And they were 1.5 lakh tickets or 150,000 tickets to be sold altogether. So, obviously, many disappointed people. But since then, and there was a lot of talk on social media about the disappointment. But since then, the Mumbai Police Economic Offences Wing, this is not the ED which belongs to the Delhi government, to the central government. Mumbai Police has a wing called Economic Offences that looks into white collar crime. They have now summoned Anil Makija, who's the chief operating officer of Big Tree Entertainment, which actually owns Book My Show, and apparently, according to the Hindustan Times, questioned him for 7 hours regarding an alleged scam involving the sale of Coldplay tickets. Now, this is what we understand. There was an FIR or a complaint filed by one individual about basically not getting tickets because so many fans were trying to get it because of overwhelming demand. The complaint basically said by one Mr. Vyas, who also happens to be a lawyer, alleged that Book My Show conspired with ticket reselling platforms such as Viagogo to black market the concert, its own concert tickets, thereby creating, cheating and defrauding him and other Coldplay fans. So effectively, it also alleges that tickets that were sold at 2,500 rupees on Book My Show are currently being resold at 96,000 rupees on reselling platforms and have gone up to 2.5 lakhs ever since. Now, Book My Show put out a statement after that saying it has no association with any unauthorized ticket selling platforms. Including and not limited to Viagogo or Gigsburg or any other third party individual. I checked also, there's a website called StubHub, which is an America registered website that's selling the 9,000 rupee tickets for 75,000 rupees right now. So is it just demand? Why is the Mumbai police investigating Book My Show? What is really going on? Could this, first of all, I want to understand under what law are they being investigated? To help us understand what is going on, we have Priyanka Khamani join us right now. She's an intellectual property lawyer, but really the final name among the lawyers for entertainment. Also, Roshan Abbas, who is an actor, TV host, he's a radio host, but co-founder of Commune, which is a performance arts collective of storytellers, and also Encompass, massive event company. Roshan and Priyanka, thank you so much for joining us. What is going on? So, first of all, Priyanka, is there a law that says you can't sort of sell tickets in two different places? Under what law is Book My Show being questioned by the Mumbai police?
Look, from what I understand, and at this point, I think we're all just purely going by whatever facts are available. My understanding is that the complaint that's been filed by this other gentleman, the advocate, is for various provisions of the previous IPC and now the updated act, largely fraud, cheating, criminal breach of trust, right, defrauding members of the public, and so on and so forth. So these are the various allegations against Book My Show. I think as far as legally this whole thing of selling reselling is concerned, yes, there are certain state statutes that have sought to regulate sale and resale of tickets, but by and large, I think it's purely a contract between buyer seller, and if my ticket boils down to whether it's transferable non-transferable, right? And by and large, if you look at terms and conditions of a lot of the ticketing platforms, it will clearly specify that this is a non-transferable transaction, which means that I'm willing seller, willing buyer, I've made an offer, you've accepted it, that contract has concluded. So then you going out and selling those tickets really starts to fall beyond the realm of that ticketing platform. So I just
So
feel
you're saying
everyone's
that, sorry, Book My Show cannot be held accountable if someone who got a ticket decided to go out and sell it. There's no
exact
way that they can. Okay.
unless this is investigated and we find out that look, they were hand in glove, or they have behind the scenes orchestrated, participated, have in some way facilitated this reselling of tickets, and look, that's purely a matter of investigation, right? But broadly speaking, if we bought a bunch of tickets and decided to sell it at 5x, and it used to have, like, go back to olden days of like us buying movie tickets, right, standing outside theaters, and you're paying whatever above selling price for it. But I feel unless there's an investigation and you have something to point out that there is a correlation, participation, involvement of the ticketing platform, that's still something that stands to be seen.
We have someone right now also on our live chat saying my friend's IP was blocked even though he reached 5,000 on the waiting line. He has a screen recording of the entire process. So, Roshan Abbas, is this disgruntled customers who couldn't get tickets, but also people complaining that the system crashed and it wasn't efficiently processed, they weren't able to get in. Again, is it actually is Book My Show's fault here that they weren't prepared for the kind of numbers that finally did show up that day?
Faye, I was actually prior to this looking and seeing what were internet outages that have happened over the last 2 years. There have been outages on Twitter, there have been outages on Meta, there's been outages on WhatsApp, etc. It led multiple people from not being able to book things to consolidate things. Remember the time when there was the Microsoft crash at the airports and people could not get onto
Yes.
flights?
Yes.
What happened ultimately? We must understand that technology is an enabler, and in a nation of our size, no system has the capacity. I never think Book My Show would have imagined to build a server with the capacity to handle 130 million people. Look at that. I mean, so people somewhere have to understand that there is everyone. We did an online spoken fest in 2021. Our system crashed because we said 2,000 people will come online. We had 5,000 people. Now
And
the system crashed. We just went and apologized, and people accepted because at that time, thankfully, our audience was understanding enough. The issue is that I feel people have to learn to understand that capacity versus appetite is something that demand and supply is the basis of all economic transactions. Yes, you will be frustrated. I can tell you that my daughter wanted to go and see Taylor Swift in London. I did not book a ticket up front. Ultimately, I had to make the option of almost paying a king's ransom at 2.5 lakhs a ticket. And she said, no, this is way too much. So people must understand that this is genuinely par for the course. It happens consistently. And I, being the past president of the event association, we've been talking on the entire event association fraternity and saying, you're going to kill the golden goose, Faye. You must understand,
Yeah.
we've just created a market of over 2,000 crores. Look at Diljit Dosanjh, Karan Aujla, Dua Lipa, Lollapalooza, Coldplay. This is just the beginning. Bryan Adams. You add all of these together. This by itself, Faye, is about 500 crores already. This is just across a period of 7 or 8 shows into maybe 4. That's 30 shows. Look at the amount of revenue that the government is going to get. Look at the amount of revenue that stadiums will get. Light sound suppliers, franchisees, people who come and do anything from F&B. This is an ecosystem that needs to thrive. And young audiences post-pandemic have decided to vote with their wallet. This behavior will keep increasing. At some point, we will reach par. But it will take ages. But if you kill this now, what will happen is the same thing of people heading off to Abu Dhabi to watch it, saying at least there won't be a problem there.
Yeah.
So do you realize the loss of revenue? I'm just shocked at people. I can understand the outrage. Even I have not managed to get tickets for years for various things. It's all right. You learn to suck it up and move on. But don't kill the industry. This industry takes a lot of effort. And I really think that what Book My Show, Big Tree, Zomato, District, all of these guys have been doing over a period of time is really creating a new ecosystem which will keep our live industry going. It's so important to do that.
Yeah, and I think Roshan is right?
Yeah.
At the core of this is the classic demand supply issue. And I think for years, in my experience also, when people have, and I'm talking of foreign artists or foreign stakeholders that have looked at India, right? Why are we seeing this surge of global artists now starting to include India as part of their tour whenever they're on this side of the world? Is because everyone, I think for years and years, didn't really miss seeing the opportunity. the opportunity, in my view, and Roshan will agree, was always there. Right now, everyone starts to realize that, wait a minute, there's strength in numbers. This is such a huge market. It's a market that consumes Anglo-American works. That it's a market that believes in spending on socio-cultural experiences. And every time someone's come to India and gotten a taste of it, they'll make it a point then to come back again in a bigger way.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, but what everyone underestimates is that, look, you're catering to a country of over 1 billion people. Within that, you're looking at these big cities where people have the spending power. I think Coldplay, if at all, one big, the most important thing is demonstrated is that this generation is ready to pay. The current audience that we have in this country is not shying away from investing in an experience. So, and Roshan's right. I think it takes time. Right? There's an entire infrastructure. There's an economics behind it. There's an ecosystem. I think Roshan and I can collectively tell you the PNL, right, that goes into making concerts of these sizes viable for a promoter, for a ticketing platform, for the artist, for the artist's entourage. I mean, it comes with its own tech rider, their own hospitality rider, and so on and so forth. And I understand from a general member of the public and from a fan's perspective, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I only care about seeing one of my favorite artists come and I want to enjoy their show. But it's just because I think we're mixing two different issues. The fact that technology failed to cater does not necessarily become equal to, oh, they were hand in glove with
Yes.
orchestrating this
Yes.
failure. I think they're two very
No, so in
distinct.
fact, we have Mukesh Kujur who says, does the Q algorithm need an audit or fair regulations? So here, this is the question I have, right? So Book My Show managed to land the biggest artist that obviously India is interested in. Maybe
Yeah.
Taylor Swift will be bigger. We don't know. There are some people in the audience arguing Led Zeppelin, but we'll take it one step at a time, really. But Book My Show managed to land this giant artist. They got the venue. They put all of the pieces together. Should they be regulated in how they sell these tickets and whether they use the queue system, whether they do an early sale like UAE is doing it right now? Is that something regulation should be involved in, or is it because it's a private promoter, they can do whatever they see fit?
No, Faye, see, you must understand firstly, and I'll go back to the same thing that I said earlier about the fact of saying when there is an outage that happens from a tech platform like a Meta, etc., what do? Do you go and investigate them? Or how many such investigations would be needed? Just because there is current outrage, because there is X number of people who have come. Now, as Priyanka said earlier, there is a very clear line in the ticket which says it is non-transferable. All that needs to be done to control this outrage right now, Faye, is to have, while it will create at least a 2 hour delay in the process of looking at people, but then identify the person with an Aadhaar card or a number or a mobile number. You can do it. It's just that at concerts, you want ease of access. You want people to come. When you'll have traveled the world to get to DY Patil. You'll have handled everything from traffic to human beings to animals to cops to traffic snarls, name it. I went to U2 4 hours in advance just so that I could get him, right?
Yes.
What happened? There was no alcohol license because I'm telling you, I was told at that point in time, no, till the last minute it wasn't given because it's a point of negotiation. Justin Bieber, when it happened,
All the time.
it happened, the show didn't take place because there was an argument between the people who ran the NSCI and the cops because there was a traffic snarl and the cops indeed said, we can't. I mean, and it just it became an ego issue. $1.5 million was lost to the artist because he was like, I was ready to come. What do I do? Right? Nobody understands that is back-breaking for an event agency. And this whole thing is divided into two parts. Oh, the system failed. Systems fail us all the time. How many times have we been able to book a rail ticket? What should we do? Go after the railway ministry tomorrow? वो हम accept कर लेते हैं.
No, there's one person called Runner who said, I'm sorry, Roshan, I don't believe we're being sore losers. I think people are asking for a fair system in which the queue system was not fair. I signed in on my phone and my PC and I was ahead, I still didn't get tickets. So
And
I suppose
that pissed people off. That's the most important. Sorry.
Just go and look at what happened at that point in time. Lots of people were logged in and logged out. Is there an issue in the system? Possible? Can it be investigated? We are a nation which is saying We are the backbone of the knowledge economy. We do so many things. Somebody come up with
Yeah,
a
yeah,
solution. Why does Book My Show exist? Book My Show exists because at one point in time, standing in queue for a movie ticket was a pain in the ass, and we did not understand. Oh my God, I have not managed to get this ticket. Now I'll go and stand in the balcony line, and somebody's selling me a ticket at 5x the price. I've got
yeah,
my family. Right? It's the delta. It is that delta which says between convenience and that, what will I do? The convenience fee has been challenged. I mean, can you imagine earlier the convenience fee was inbuilt into the ticket? The
Yeah.
government said, no, this is wrong. They charged it externally. We still pay it because we're okay with it. Guys, my problem, and to anybody who's listening, you didn't get a ticket. I can understand it. Do you know that Coldplay was working with Book My Show to regulate the price of the ticket? This
Yeah.
ticket would not have been priced at this rate. You would never have got a seat. Internationally, concert tickets are not sold at this price. And Faye, what you said about Abu Dhabi having an early sale, no. The dates of that concert are just 5 days before us. They've released the dates now. We released them earlier.
mm,
So what is your problem? Frankly, if they'd released them 2 days before this had happened, maybe the show would have happened and everybody would have gone off, and then this would have been post outrage. But we've now got 4 months to contemplate and and gnash our teeth and snarl at the fact of saying nahi mila. You know, we
yeah. No,
and
I think that fundamentally, okay. Also speaking like a customer, right? And let me just echo what is being said in the chat window and what I also felt. I burned some 2.5 hours sitting in front of my computer trying to get like tickets on various. I had all the gadgets open, and I just felt that did Book My Show miscalculate the number of people who would be
Underestimates
interested?
the demand.
They underestimated the kind of load their website is going to have to take. They underestimated the number of shows they could have maybe put together if this
you
kind of make
can't do that.
whatever it is.
No, Faye, that's what I'm saying. You must understand. And what I'm going to go revert to one more thing which Priyanka said earlier. India was a dark market for concerts because it was looked down upon globally, because people would say, don't go to India because you will never get through, you will never get permission, your show
There's
will
too much red tape.
reputation. This reputation is only changed in the last couple of years, guys. Lollapalooza wanted to bring every piece of equipment from abroad till they were convinced by people from within the Indian event community. We've got the equipment, we've got showrunners, we are creating a new set of venues, showrunners, equipment. Be a little more patient, guys. Yes, one swallow does not a summer make. It's okay. It's happened once. And Faye, what you said that it could have done more shows. No, there is a global roster of dates. In that, there is an entire logistic plan which says 4 days Middle East, gap of 5 days, then Singapore, from Singapore, Australia. It's a circuit.
This is one stop
Time,
in the
yes.
entire tour.
Sunday करने से 2 हफ्ते और कर देते हैं. नहीं होता. नहीं होता.
There's logistics involved, right? I mean, they come with their own crew, their band members.
Yeah.
You've got to put them up on those days. They can't perform back. I mean, they need break days during the shows. The crew needs some rest. So during those days, also they become the liability of the promoter in terms of them being looked after, put up their security, food, all of it.
Nazif Muhammad, who manages A.R. Rahman, said the best thing. He said, instead of feeling so bad about not getting a ticket, go buy a ticket on the same day for an indie act and support an Indian artist. Show people you care about the live industry, not that you just want to play.
Yeah. So
Go and
actually,
do that.
so let me now, what I was saying is, let's assume from what we know so far, we don't know everything. Book My Show's server was not able to actually handle the load that came. Book My Show was not able to actually put everybody in a line and treat everybody the way people expect to be treated when they're willing to spend upwards of 12,000 rupees on something, right? Is that criminal though, Priyanka?
Not at all.
So, I mean, I messed up on my job. Is that
it
criminal?
could be deficiency of services, right? As a consumer.
Consumer court. Yeah.
And you have remedies for that, right? But like Roshan and I have been saying that, look, if it's a technical failure.
We are also conjecturing that it is a server issue. What if it is an internet issue? कल क्या Airtel के पीछे जाएं? Jio किसके पीछे?
Or what if they themselves have also, let's take their case at the highest, right? And by no means are either of us advocating for this, and that's why I said that, look, we're purely going by facts that are available at the moment, and it's a matter of investigation and remains to be seen, right? But let's even let's assume that they were not they didn't have a role to play in this, and their own sort of mechanism has been subjected to these bots or scabs that have scoured these tickets and made them available on third party websites. Isn't that something that they're also dealing with?
Hmm.
Why are we so convinced that, oh, the ticketing platform has deployed these bots or scalps to make these tickets available on a third party website? Where is that assumption coming
Any
from?
technology, Priyanka, absolutely any technology can be used for good or bad. Today, AI is being misused in 100 ways. If somebody found this to be, somebody will find some recourse to it. Maybe it's not happened in this case. But again, I go back to the fact, in the same week, Diljit Dosanjh sold in 15 minutes. उस पे कोई outrage नहीं हुआ.
But it was,
Hmm.
in fact, even in that concert, Zomato to put out a statement, right? Because even there, his tickets were being sold on in black on some third-party websites, including StubHub and via Gogo, the same third-party sites that everyone's sort of complaining about within this Coldplay mess as well. And Zomato clarified that these are not authorized tickets for our concert.
And man, no platform. The platform's business is to sell, not resell. They
Yeah.
will they will always try and create more and more opportunities
Yeah.
for the primary sale.
And
Right?
and in a whole different context, I think, as far as bots are concerned, I mean, look at the entire age of social media, digital creators, influencers, people who've deployed, all sorts of mechanisms to get a certain number of streams, to make a certain thing go viral, and so on and so forth. So by that, I mean, that truly, that in a greater sense, is actually misrepresenting and misleading your audience, right? To
And
trick them into believing that, hey, I'm worthy of X million followers, or this particular song or
I'll
piece
tell
of
you what
content
will
is
happen,
capable. Why is
Priyanka.
that? Then that's criminal.
The other really good thing for you that will happen is Coldplay will say 4 dates were not, 3 dates were not enough. Next time we'll give India 10. Next time we'll do 3 cities. And guys, they are young. They will come back.
Okay, so
The
hang on. Now, on
moment
that
it goes
point,
cold,
since I'm a news person, I must tell you they've announced their retirement after.
Yeah, I was gonna say, रोशन Coldplay शायद नहीं आएगा वापस, कोई और करना पड़ेगा.
As
पार्टी
a
में क्या आ
band,
जाएगा?
they have
कौन आ
announced their
जाएगा?
retirement after their 12th studio album.
Yeah,
They're not going to make another one. So maybe Chris Martin
maybe
alone.
they'll
I don't
continue
know.
touring. They'll still hopefully continue touring. I think
And
they'll have to announce an India specific tour.
you
Yeah,
know,
no,
it
but
really
so just here's the latter question through the both of you. Let's say we all now, lick our wounds of not getting these tickets and decide to move on and say, okay, next time, whenever that is. In order for India's right now, I mean, Mushroom is also does not cover what's happening to our event industry because it's massive. The amount of interest we have, the sheer number of people with the disposable income to spend 12 to 25,000 rupees on a show, maybe even more. What are we going to need to be able to do this well? What's missing right now? Is it the infrastructure? Is it the tech? Is it the event venues? What do we need to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again when Taylor Swift comes?
I mean,
We're manifesting at this point.
Hell yeah, no, absolutely. Look, as someone who's acted for most of the time that's touring this current season, we've represented a whole bunch of them, and constantly dealing with the likes of Zomato, Insider, Book My Show, so on and so forth. I feel the one thing that makes or breaks PNL is the size of the stadium and the quantity of the tickets that I'm going to be able to sell, right? Because understand this, when I'm bringing in an artist, there is a certain landed cost to that artist and his entourage. Then there is a production cost. All of this combined together means that I need to be able to, at the very least, offset some part of it in ticket sales, if not all. Look at the size of the venues, even in a big city like Bombay, which really is the entertainment capital of this country. Think of the stadium sizes. Look at Diva Patil. I mean, during Justin Bieber's time, the maximum I think crowd was about 50 odd thousand. Russian.
absolutely
I mean,
that's it.
you do the math, right? If you have an average ticket price of say 6,000, 8,000, I'm saying average, taking an average across the board. with 50,000 tickets, what does that amount to? It's just about probably covering artist fee. And then you have, like Roshan said, they come with their own set of tech riders. There's a production cost. I mean, a show like Coldplay, for example, which is carrying a certain set, there's a certain design, the execution making that happen. Then comes the layer of you getting permissions, right? For your to conduct the show, the police clearance, the insurance, so on and so forth. Then your food and beverage. I personally feel to make the industry more a thriving ecosystem, infrastructure is what is needed, both in terms of venues, the ease of fan experience to going to a concert. I don't want to stand in that mad queue in getting in and out of race course, right? Spending 2 hours to watch a 45 minute that I really want to watch, and then another 2 hours of nightmare to get
Yeah,
out and
yeah.
call your friends and figure out your jugaad about how you're going to exit the venue. The infrastructure, I feel those are the top three. Have more venues, have bigger venues, right? And sure, to that someone might say that, look, but we've got so many stadiums, there are logistical issues also. You want the sound to be what it is, and just because it's a stadium doesn't mean I'm going to achieve the sound so that my musical experience isn't compromised. Artists are so particular because they are the ones who are going to face the biggest backlash, right? Oh, it didn't sound right. Oh, this guy was just lip syncing. Oh, this was poorly done.
Yeah.
All of that, then the artist has a reputational risk, which is the greatest at the end of the day from the
This
artist.
happened, remember, to Trevor Noah in Bangalore. He had
Yes.
an event. Nobody could get to the event because of the traffic. Once he got there, the audio was so bad that the people at the back couldn't hear him. He actually cancelled his show. It turned into a thing. And so basically, you're saying that even though we have, say, a Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad that can seat for 1 lakh people, you need acoustics, and the venues for live performances are different from sporting
You need
stadiums, right?
acoustics, you need parking, you need your
Mm.
exits in terms of you need arrangements for your fire drills, your they've got fireworks going on, all sorts of things.
There
The
is,
ease
there
of
is
people having access to toilets, having access to food and beverage, the fact that they have to construct separate lounges so that people in a certain tier, and we have this class system in India no matter where we go, including at a concert, right? You want to have the flex of being in your VIP lounge, and if you have a particular credit card,
Easy, yeah,
that
yeah.
thing and all of that. But all of that is being constructed from scratch in a stadium. Or if you go to turf, nothing exists, right? You go there a few days before a festival like Lollapalooza, everything is being built from scratch.
there
So
is
I
a
feel
yeah.
infrastructure needs is the biggest investment at this point in the live industry.
I would just add to say that look at NMACC. The second it came up, there is not a
Yeah.
single date available in the convention hall or the main theater.
Yeah.
That is the appetite. Geo Garden, it doesn't have a single date to offer in season to any of us. I mean, we as promoters will sit amongst each other and ask, saying, "What weekend do you have? I have this," because that's our kind of propensity. Bangalore is making its first move. A very, very senior member of our event fraternity, Om Pradyot, along with Live Nation, along with the Embassy Group, is building a mega venue next to the airport, which is being built only for this purpose. There are currently, I have had conversations with ENY, etc., where they have been speaking on behalf of various, large conglomerates in building this infrastructure in various cities. You will, in the next 5 to 7 years, have custom-made venues just for these kind of events. Along with that, you require everything else that was said, but these venues are going to be what we really have plug and play venues. Because right now they're not plug and play, they are build, dismantle, pray to God in between that things go right. That's honestly, it's that. And we do not have. So it will change. There's a 3x demand increase post COVID with young audiences. We are no longer sponsor dependent as much as we used to be. People are paying from their wallet, and digital economy has made it even easier. This will only grow. And I'm telling you, there is a need of 100 entrepreneurs. And please understand, if a Book My Show grows, if a District and Zomato grows, the entire infrastructure grows. This industry, it has taken us years to get the government to recognize that the wedding business is a huge business. Now everybody believes it. It's taken us years to make them understand that corporate events creates 1 million jobs in the country. This is another 1 million jobs. I assure you it is. Please support it. And honestly, for those who raise these beautiful legal cases, and actually put everybody to task. Yes, our legal system allows people to stand up and question something. But what if they are proved wrong? What about the time expense? What about the sheer volume of noise within India and outside India currently, which is actually maybe making a whole bunch of promoters say, you know what,
It's
let's
not
be,
worth it.
let's not
Yeah.
worth it.
It's not worth. I
Because
guarantee you, if I was a promoter in the US
it
or
is happening.
talent representing this, or agent or management representing talent, I'm like, oh my goodness, see, we
And
knew this was going to be a problem.
don't deprive it, because it also, when the pyramid on top builds, the rising tide carries all boats. All younger artists, their prices are going up, they're getting more audiences, people are getting comfortable with experimenting. Allow it to happen. It's an infrastructure which needs building. It requires to breathe and build its roots, which is what Big Tree, Book My Show, Zomato, District, everybody has been doing. Please just give them your love and understanding.
So fundamentally, I do want to ask you this though, Roshan Abbas. If you were running the Coldplay concert in India, how would you sell the tickets?
I would do
What would you
exactly.
have done differently?
No. So the only thing that would possibly happen is that nowadays there is an ability to, and honestly, queue management is something which the world is working on, in terms of saying, once, if there's a conversation happening, by the way, and there are at least 2 or 3 ventures which are blockchain, now aligned. So the minute you would get a unique ID, that blockchain would be with you. So whether you got logged out or not, it would come back. I'm very certain it will get implemented. That's the first thing I would have done, but the technology is not ready for you right now, right? One. Secondly, right now, only turn and say, anybody who bought the ticket, you bought it with a mobile number, you bought it with the credit card, it will increase, as I said, the process by 2 hours. I would do that. I would say, here I am, hand on heart, standing, looking at whether you have the mobile phone and Aadhaar, only then can you go. And if you sold it, sorry. Look at what would happen. Those people who bought it in resale would go back sucking their thumbs, and everybody else who didn't get a ticket will say, they couldn't buy it in black. Fine.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot of mess at the venue for a while and a lot of disgruntled customers, but so be it.
Priyanka, at the end of the day, and it comes back to this, so people on my timeline are still upset and they're saying government should take action against resellers, reselling, black market completely ruined it for me, and things like that.
100%.
Of course they should. But
They
then
should.
go after via Gogo. When we
We
could
made a
block,
conclusion that BookMyShow is the reseller.
they are not the reseller.
What is
Go
that?
after StubHub, all block them. No, we could block an entire TikTok. Block
Yeah.
kar do, yeah.
Okay, I'll give you an example, right? The Delhi High Court routinely will give us John Doe injunctions on behalf of OTT platforms or distribution services, when you have Warner, Netflix, so on and so forth, to go and take down websites, bulk websites, right? We'll take down about 20, 30, 40 websites in one go who are pirating my content, making content wrongfully available, so on and so forth. Of course, I'm saying for that, there is enough regulation in place. Take action and definitely take down all of these websites for enabling this sort of reselling of tickets. That is a separate. Right now, what has happened? That's a separate issue. I think what has happened right now, we've jumped the gun and made an assumption that Book My Show is hand in glove with the reselling platforms. And I'm not defending that position. I'm saying that is a matter of investigation, right? Let that happen. Let them be technically satisfied that, hey, could they have done it? Could they have directly, indirectly facilitated or participated in this reselling by these third-party platforms because they have a benefit or some commercial gain out of it? That's purely a matter of investigation and remains to be seen.
Via
So
Gogo
this-
has put out a statement today.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, they put out a statement today. We've got no commercial understanding or anything with Book My Show.
So here's another question, Roshan Abbas and Priyanka Khamani. Running businesses in India, not just about events, but across the board. Do investigative agencies in India treat business owners like criminals until they are proven innocent?
Entertainment companies are always treated as, I've always said this, that it is so sad that in our tax things, entertainment comes under alcohol and tobacco right after that as sin, right? We looked on that. Even today we have that thing, but young audiences will change that. That's my belief. It is extremely difficult. the number of permissions we need, the number of licenses we need, the amount of things that need to happen. It's a live beast. There are so many things to take care of. Really, really, honestly, I've always felt that these are true champions who provide you with actually the true dopamine rush that you need. You know, that hug that you have, that shout that you do with everyone else, that combined feeling of just, camaraderie, etc., which an event creates, nothing else creates in the world. And I genuinely feel that it is always looked on as saying, अरे इसकी वजह से ट्रैफिक इशू है, इसकी वजह से नॉइज पोल्यूशन है, इसकी वजह से लोग जो हैं वो पी रहे हैं, इसकी वजह से मतलब यार, look at what happens with when Goa and sunburn. Any of these things, we are constantly looked on with this one filter of saying नहीं नहीं गलत चीज है. Let everybody work 70 hours.
No, but Faye, I'm with you. I think just not necessarily restricted to entertainment, but generally for business owners, entrepreneurs, founders, directors, officers of an organization, I think it's so easy for me to become the subject matter of an investigation, and the kind of panic and anxiety that it generates across the board, right? Because there's such carte blanche when it comes to anyone being subjected to these sort of investigative processes. And, I mean, Roshan has seen it, I've seen it multiple times on behalf of clients, advised on quite a few of these, where, you're being summoned and you're being questioned, and, then all hell is breaking loose. And there's so much of paranoia and anxiety, because on the one hand, there is a very public facing crisis that you're dealing with, because never before have I seen, statement after statement being given out. It's today become on the one hand, so immediately you'll see there's a media trial that has commenced, which obviously adds to the pressure. So as an organization, I'm thinking that, oh my goodness, I need to do something, because people are reacting and it makes me look culpable, makes me look guilty, so on and so forth. And on the other hand, you have the more real danger of, am I going to be arrested? Do I need to get an anticipatory bail? Oh my goodness, I need to produce all these documents, and then anything and everything is being summoned and asked for, and you're trying to collate everything, and then you're sitting there for hours and hours, and that sort of leads to more speculation, saying, why was someone questioned for X amount of time? No, I mean, what happens inside, perhaps sometimes a different story, right? And I won't get into that now, but you're right. I just feel it's become as if we're guilty until proven
But no,
innocent.
no. But what does happen as a lawyer who's represented many people within the entertainment industry? What happens when the police summons someone and questions them all day? Are they
Look,
ordering lunch? What's actually going on?
Depends on how much trouble you're in, really. But I think, look, it boils down to, again, how serious is the investigation. I think it's hours of them also trying to sink their teeth into a subject matter that they may not necessarily be well versed with, but they're such bright, officers are officers, right? Their job is to get involved in, like lawyers, a good lawyer, irrespective of what the subject matter is, will sink their teeth in and learn it and catch the rope. So I think you're trying to do that now. Imagine crunching down the ticketing business and explaining it to an officer in a matter of hours. I might think that, hey, I'm so well versed with the business, I breathe this day in and day out, because naturally I do. But now try explaining this to an officer who thinks that you got to break it down from scratch. So really, in a lot of these, you're going through documents, you're looking at things. If my job is to demonstrate that, look, this is how a campaign is run, or this is a typical ticketing transaction. Now it is my job during one of these episodes of me being summoned and questioned to break down the process, explain it, to satisfy them, to answer all of their queries in a manner that they feel that, okay, fine, I have enough, we understand, maybe we'll come back to you with a follow-up set of questions, because ultimately they're investigating the issue at hand.
So effectively, a lot of times it's just a masterclass in how your business runs, and that doesn't have to sound like a summons for an investigation for fraud. The whole language, I've always felt is misleading, because as a journalist, and I believe the media has a large, portion of blame to shoulder here, you're very clear about the fact that Poochtaj is for the cop to just understand what happened.
The
And it's
first
only
step,
after FIR has been registered and you've been named prime accused with due process does an investigation actually begin, correct?
yeah, I feel it's the first step, right? A summons is them saying, hey, come talk to us, we'd like to understand. But I just feel socially, in our society, there is so much stigma attached to it, that, and the minute, right, police kisi ke ghar pe aayi hai, We all
Hmm.
love to talk about it, neighbor. It's just been
Yeah,
that
very
way
gossipy.
culturally
Yeah.
for us. And I think it's the same when a summons is issued. And naturally, most clients also have a full knee-jerk reaction to it. There's panicky, and my reaction is also to say, okay, it is a summons. Let's try and understand what do they want. Let's try and figure what is the aspect of our business that they would like to understand. All they're trying to figure out is, hey, how does this function? What happened? What was the chain of events? Okay, who does what? Explain to me the mechanism. That's what is really going on.
Yeah, and I find basically what happens is they just call someone and ask them questions as to how this works. How did you sell these tickets? So it's probably the conversation that's happening over 7 hours with some lunch
And most
breaks.
of it needs to be backed by documents or documentary evidence,
Yeah,
which also
yeah,
look at, it's not compulsory. There are, I mean, again, depending on the nature of the allegations or the investigation, sometimes we know that, look, this is not required at this stage. I don't see the need to produce it, right? It's not that you don't have the right to say
absolutely.
no.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, the media coverage on it tends to be very gossipy, very salty about, oh, so and so has been summoned and this is what they're investigating and blah, 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 blah. Where
No,
all of that information is being leaked by some interesting cop who wants to be named in the press.
unfortunately, as you rightly said, unfortunately, a large part of the media today does not possibly, I mean, actually looks on this opportunity to maybe fill some more airtime or to create something where there is something just, I mean, look at it, right? I mean, we exist in these 24-hour news cycles. Now, how do we get
Yeah.
something new for people to now be outraged about, right? I saw that the same article was carried in a leading daily across their glossy supplement. I saw at least 8 editions. Same headline, same thing, all about BookMyShow CEO summoned, blah, 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 whatever. Uh, I actually wrote on the group saying, can they not just turn and say, BookMyShow, CEO is being called to explain this, because we've got these words which we love. मतलब अगर उनका बस
Yeah.
होता तो कहते जेल में डाल दिया, you know. वो लगता अच्छा है ना, as you said, it's the whole thing. Oh my God, what happened? It's that you just don't. I mean, in this skimming the surface, we are just running from headlines to headlines.
Yeah.
Where are you getting into the depth of the business? Why can somebody just not put it up and say, why is there no one in-depth conversation on saying this is how a ticketing platform works, this is the bandwidth they can handle, this is the amount of people they could handle on that day, this is what happened. You might have been in a low signal area, who knows, right? I mean, and there's so many of these things, and let's
Or
solve
like
it.
this, right? Like what Faye said earlier, that people have logged in from 3 devices, 4 devices. Now you multiply that by like a few million people doing the same thing across multiple devices. I mean, that's insane
Yeah.
traffic.
Nobody
Yeah,
can
I
handle
did that. In fact, there's one person who just wrote on our window saying they should only allow 2 tickets per person. But then that would increase the number of transactions, which would increase the number of load, which would cause your server to crash even further.
Find a
And
way to
imagine,
cheat the system. That's what we like doing. Let's not forget that. All have our part to play in this.
yeah, yeah. All right. I want to thank Priyanka and Roshan for joining us on this conversation. It's really important conversation to have because um, while we're waiting for the Mumbai police to continue its Poochtash summons understanding of the issue. We know for sure that there is no investigation as of now. So, what happens, just to explain to our audience, if you feel there has been some sort of wrongdoing as a citizen, you can go to the police station and file a complaint. The police will then check out your complaint and do some questioning to find out whether or not the law has in fact been broken. And if the law has been broken, in their opinion, they will register, the FIR and start a formal investigation. That has not happened yet in this case. So that is where we are right now. But we're going to keep a close eye on it. The concert did not get cancelled. One of our audience members is asking. There are still 3 concerts. There's a lot of tickets that are on sale at exorbitant prices on other websites right now. Book My Show has said they're not associated with any of those prices. But the aim with this conversation is just to make clear what the laws are about live entertainment in the country. Thank you all for joining us. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Please sign up for our membership on YouTube. It helps us financially and it keeps us viable, as we know we all need to be. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.